There is a kind of violence that leaves no bruises, no screaming, and cruelly, it has no goodbye. You pick up your phone, the screen lights up. There is nothing. Just yesterday, you were their whole world. Today, you are a stranger who never existed. That is not just silence. That is a death without a corpse. You are stuck between mourning a relationship that is lost and the delusional hope that it is still alive. Why can someone love you madly on Monday and vanish on Friday? The answer lies not in your value. It lies in the psychological dungeons that they have never dared to enter. Let us go down there together. Recall the moment it began. The air seemed to thin out because of the rapid breathing. They crashed into your life like a tropical storm, vibrant, loud, and full of promise. Do you remember the way they looked at you? That unblinking gaze, pupils dilated as if they wanted to drink in your every gesture. Your phone buzzed incessantly. 7 a.m., good morning. 12 p.m., have you eaten yet? 2 a.m., I can't sleep because I miss your voice. We often call that romance or destiny, but through the lens of clinical psychology, I call that love bombing. It is a biological high. Their brain is bathing in a pool of dopamine and oxytocin. They are addicted to the feeling of having you, not who you are. But the cruel truth lies here. Listen carefully to the words of Carl Jung, the great psychologist of the unconscious. Every encounter, essentially, is a projection. When someone you just met rushes to exclaim, "You are the most perfect person," or "I've never met anyone like you," they do not see you at all. What they see is the anima, if they are male, or animus, if they are female. That is the model of the ideal lover, absolutely perfect, that they have nurtured deep within their own unconscious since childhood. They are loving, their own shadow reflected upon you. Imagine, you are a stark, white movie screen, and they are the projector running at full capacity. They project onto your body the romantic movie in which they yearn to play the lead role. In that movie, you are not allowed to have flaws, not allowed to have ugly sorrows, not allowed to be ordinary. They worship you, placing you on a pedestal so very high. But you know, standing on a pedestal is very lonely, and falling down is very painful. You think you are the chosen one? No. In that moment, you are merely a host for their illusion to parasitize. You are the magic mirror for them to gaze into and see themselves as magnificent for conquering someone as wonderful as you. And the tragedy of projection lies here. When you start moving like a real human being, when you reveal your scratches, your anxieties, that perfect image will shatter. The projector shuts off, and they realize the person standing in front of them is not the angel in the dream, but just you. That is when the abandonment begins, even before the words of love have dried on their lips. Ask yourself one honest question. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by someone's speed, but clicked your tongue and ignored it because the feeling of being desired was so incredibly sweet? In the age of consumer culture, the consumerist mindset has crept into love itself. To them, at this stage, you are a brand new luxury item on a supermarket shelf. You sparkle, you are unsealed, and most importantly, you bring them the feeling of winning. But look closely, deep inside them. Why do they need this victory? Because inside them exists a deep, gaping black hole where loneliness and a wounded ego are screaming for food. These are the preliminary, most subtle signs of narcissistic traits. They look into your eyes, but not to see your soul. They use your eyes like a mirror. They love the reflection of themselves within them. A seducer, a powerful figure, a savior. They are addicted to the feeling of being admired by you. In other words, they do not love you. They love the way you make them feel about themselves. And here is the most subtle trap: vulnerability weaponized. They tell you tragic stories about their lives, about a deprived childhood, about crazy exes, right on the first few dates. You think that is opening up? You are touched because you are trusted. No, wake up. That is bait. In psychology, we call that false intimacy. They are taking a shortcut. By sharing private things too soon, they create an emotional debt. They force you to repay with equivalent trust and commitment, even though the foundation of the relationship is not yet solid. You are tied to them, not by time, but by pity and an artificial sense of destiny. But the law of the universe is always balance. A pendulum that swings too hard towards excitement will certainly snap back towards fear with equal force. When the halo of novelty begins to fade, when you start to become a real person with needs, demands, and moments of exhaustion, that is when the moviegoer starts to feel this movie is no longer as perfect as the glittering trailer they constructed in their head. Disappointment appears, and in the darkness of the subconscious basement, the monster named avoidance begins to open its cold eyes. Everything changes after just one night, or more precisely, after one real moment. Maybe it's when you leave your toothbrush at their place. Maybe it's when you ask, "Where are we going this weekend?" Or simpler, when you tell them a deep sadness and expect comfort. In that very moment, inside their head, a dry click sounds out. The alarm system is activated. For someone with an avoidant attachment style, intimacy does not bring the warm feeling you imagine. It brings the sensation of a noose slowly tightening. At the start, they craved love fiercely. But now, when real love knocks on the door with demands for responsibility and connection, they do not see happiness. They see loss of freedom. Observe their body. The body is always more honest than words. Their nervous system is reacting as if meeting a predator. Breathing becomes shallow and rapid. An invisible rock weighs down on the chest, creating an indescribable nausea. When your name appears on the phone screen, instead of dopamine shooting up to create a smile, cortisol, the stress hormone, makes their eyebrows furrow. A moment of hesitation appears, that deadly silence between their finger and the view button. They don't hate you. They are afraid of being annexed, afraid of being swallowed by someone else's emotions. But this fear is very skillfully camouflaged under the shell of arrogance or busyness. Their mind begins to run toxic lines of code from the consumerist mindset of emotions. This is the paradox of choice. They start asking themselves, is this the best choice yet? Why do I have to be responsible for this person's feelings? Surely there is someone out there less troublesome, more fun, more perfect. They look at the other mountain while standing on this one, not because the other mountain is beautiful, but because they fear the height of the mountain they are standing on. And you standing on the other end of the connection, start to feel the change in the atmosphere. Your intuition screams. The messages begin to get cold and sparse. Response times stretch from minutes to hours. You ask yourself, did I do something wrong? And instinctively, you try to fix it. You care more. You write longer messages. You become softer. But alas, that is the tragic dance of the chaser and the runner. The more you take one step forward, the more they take 2 steps back. Your warmth becomes their pressure. Close your eyes and recall that feeling. Have you ever poured all your love to hug someone tight, but in response to that embrace, their body went stiff, cold, and soulless, like a rock submerged at the bottom of an abyss? That is when the great defensive wall is erected. At this point, they severely lack emotional intelligence, EQ, and the capacity for empathy. They cannot, or refuse to, understand that their sudden change is like a knife stabbing into your heart, or cruelty. They know, but they choose to prioritize the safety of their weak ego over your pain. In their eyes right now, your emotion is no longer a gift, but a burden, a huge debt that their emotional bank cannot afford to pay. And the survival instinct of a wounded child deep inside them begins to whisper the final command. Run, run now, before you get swallowed by this love. The door to their bunker is slowly closing, and you heartbreakingly are standing right at the threshold, with your hand still trying to hold on, about to have your fingers crushed, when the door to their heart has closed and crushed your clinging fingers. Inside their mind, a process of short-circuiting occurs silently but brutally. Imagine their mind as a room with the lights turned on full brightness. Suddenly, they feel that light is too blinding, too hot, and so they go to the control panel, slowly turning down the dimmer, getting darker, getting colder. But how can they do this without feeling like a terrible person? How can they discard the person who just yesterday they called destiny? To protect the fragile ego from guilt, their brain begins to perform a most sophisticated trick of swapping concepts, devaluation. They start nitpicking. They put on a microscope to look for faults. Things they previously found adorable about you now suddenly become eyesores. Why does she laugh so loud? It's so ungraceful. Why does he use that tacky emoji? The way this person chews food is so annoying. They are not looking for perfection. They are looking for a reason. They need to turn you from an ideal lover into a flawed nuisance. Why? Because abandoning a wonderful person makes one a villain. But abandoning a nuisance? That is a liberation. This is how they prepare the painkiller for their own conscience before committing the crime. While they are busy looking for faults to rationalize leaving, on the other side of the wall, you begin to experience a brutal form of mental torture named emotional deprivation. You feel like you are trying to talk to a dry wall. You throw care, longing, funny stories at it. And what you get back is only bouncing silence. Conversations that lasted all night, that used to make the phone screen hot, have now evaporated. Instead, there are short, soulless messages, cold as a scalpel. Yeah, okay, busy, up to you. These words are not hurtful because of their literal meaning, but because of the painful contrast with the passionate person from before. Be honest with yourself. Surely there have been times you sat dazed in the dark, staring at the blue-lit phone screen, reading that short, curt message over and over, as if wanting to analyze every pixel, and you ask yourself in utter panic, the person who promised never to let me be lonely, where have they gone? The most heartbreaking answer is, they are still there. They are still alive, still breathing, still online. But the emotional house they once invited you into has now been sealed. Windows closed, curtains drawn. In psychology, this is the phenomenon of emotional withdrawal. They perform a trial breakup in their mind. They withdraw their soul from the relationship before actually leaving physically. Their purpose is cruel. They create an immense distance so you feel discouraged, so you doubt your own value, and hope that you will be the one to say goodbye first. This is the clearest proof of the poverty of emotional intelligence, EQ, and narcissistic thinking. They don't care how this coldness is strangling your windpipe. They don't care if you are crying or laughing. The only thing they care about right now is how to escape this mess of responsibility most smoothly, most cleanly for themselves. The air between the two of you thickens, heavy as lead. You reach out, trying to touch them, but it feels like touching a living corpse. Cold. They have switched off, even though their heart is still beating right next to you. And when the connection has been severed from the inside, when the bond has rotted, the next action is just a matter of time. The deadly silence, the final finishing blow, is waiting for you around the next bend. And then that moment arrives. No thunder, no earth-shattering argument. It usually happens on a normal Tuesday afternoon or a boring Sunday evening. Their phone vibrates. Your name appears on the screen with a question full of anxiety. Are you okay? Do we need to talk? Look at their reaction right now. Their heart skips a strong beat, not out of love, but out of conflict phobia. Inside their head runs a terrifying scenario. If they answer, they will have to explain. If they explain, you will cry, you will question, you will demand justice. They imagine your disappointed face, the long text messages, and the torment. For someone with a nervous system weak against emotional pressure, that prospect is like a tsunami. They do not have enough courage to face it. Instead of facing it, they choose the path of least resistance. They flip the phone face down on the table. They tell themselves, deal with it tomorrow. Then tomorrow becomes the day after. The day after becomes next week. And next week becomes forever. On the other side of the screen, you are free-falling in an undefined void. Their silence does not bring the peace they imagine. It is loud enough to be deafening. It is the scream of abandonment. You check the internet connection. You wonder if they had an accident. Then you see the green dot online light up. They view someone else's story. They are still alive, still breathing, still existing. It's just that they chose to die within your life only. Stop and ask yourself, have you ever fallen into a situation where you feared, just opening your mouth to speak the truth, everything would explode? So you chose to stay silent, hide, and hope the storm would vanish on its own. That is exactly the mechanism they are operating. But cruelly, they apply that cowardice to a human being who is waiting for them. In despair, they delude themselves with a sweet lie. Silence is gold. Speaking the breakup only hurts each other more. Just ignore it. Eventually, they will understand. They consider their cowardice a kind of compassion, but they forget a basic fact of humanity. The pain of a brutal truth is still easier to endure than the torture of unanswered questions. The act of ghosting at this stage does not prove they hate you. It proves they love their own safety more than anything in the world. They are children in adult bodies, afraid to clean up the rubble caused by their own hands. They choose to vanish like a ghost, leaving you haunted in the mortal world. The silence has been established. The phone is face down. They have escaped successfully. You think the first emotion hitting them is regret or torment? Not at all. It is relief. Like someone who just escaped an oxygen-deprived room, they take a deep breath, filling their lungs. A floating sensation appears, freedom. But the human mind is a strange and complex machine. No matter how much they lack empathy, somewhere in the deepest layers of the subconscious, guilt still seeps in like an underground stream. This is when cognitive dissonance appears like a system error. There is a fierce civil war breaking out between two opposing streams of thought in their head. I am a good person, kind and decent. I just cruelly abandoned someone who was waiting, without a single word of explanation. These two truths cannot coexist. If the second truth is accepted, their image of a good person will collapse. And to protect that fragile ego, their brain begins to perform a great editing job, rewriting the script of the past. They start telling themselves highly convincing rationalization stories to cleanse their conscience. First, they cite the absence of official titles. Anyway, we hadn't defined us as lovers. I don't owe her my whole life. With just one sentence, they cruelly dismiss all previous deep vibrations, turning this relationship into a superficial walk with no responsibility. More subtly, they put on the cloak of false nobility. They tell themselves, I'm doing this for his own good. I'm a terrible person. He deserves someone better than me. Pay close attention to this detail, because that fake humility is a powerful anesthetic. It helps them swap concepts, believing that their cruel act of abandonment is actually a favor to you. And finally, when a stronger reason is needed to leave, they do not hesitate to commit the act of victim blaming. They turn the spear towards you, the one being hurt, and judge. She is too troublesome. He is too controlling. I was forced to do this to find peace again. From the position of the perpetrator, they skillfully turn themselves into the victim who has to defend themselves against your affection. In this way, a perfect psychological magic trick has taken place. From the position of the one causing hurt, they skillfully transform themselves into the injured party, or a martyr, forced to leave by circumstance. They believe their own lie so intensely that night they can sleep a sound sleep without dreams, while you, transformed into the villain in their story, are awake all night with nameless pain. Let's pause a bit at this point. Let the silence seep into the mind. And I want you to ask yourself brutally, have you ever edited the film of your own memories, skillfully cutting out the segments where you played the villain, just so that night you could sleep soundly or not? We imperfect humans have more or less done so as a mechanism to protect self-esteem. But for those who choose ghosting, this is not just temporary protection, but a survival mechanism. They operate based on a cold, consumerist mindset. In their worldview, a relationship is not a sacred commitment, but a product with an expiration date. They have lowered your value to the level of disposable. And think about it. If you are just a paper cup used and thrown away, then when tossing you into the trash, who needs to organize a solemn funeral ritual or say goodbye? They build around themselves a solid fortress of denial of responsibility. They believe their own lie fiercely and sincerely to a frightening degree. If tomorrow you accidentally bump into them on a crowded street, don't expect embarrassment or remorse. They might glance past you with indifferent, soulless eyes, or even eyes full of injustice. Why? Because in their head, you are the source of all trouble, and they had to work very hard to escape you. They have succeeded perfectly in whitewashing memories. They move on to a new life with light feet, untouched by the dust of the world, leaving you behind, alone amidst the rubble, with thousands of questions, why, day and night gnawing at your insides, like termites eating rotten wood. You see, your biggest tragedy right now is the misalignment of perception. You are desperately looking for a logical answer to a completely illogical problem of emotion. You are trying to decode their actions using the dictionary of kindness and responsibility, while they are acting in the language of escape and instinct. These two languages can never find a touching point. And then time passes. Dust covers the last messages. It could be 3 weeks. It could be 3 months. The feeling of jubilation, relief, when just escaping of theirs begins to evaporate. The freedom they snatched by trampling on your feelings suddenly becomes strangely cold and empty. At this point, dopamine levels hit rock bottom. The excitement vanishes, giving way to the primal loneliness rising from under the bed. And the human mind has a spectacular deceptive mechanism. It tends to blur the discomforts, in rose tint the beautiful memories. They forget all the feelings of being suffocated or loss of freedom when with you. In emotional hunger, they only remember the feeling of being admired by you, being cared for by you every little bit. In reality, they don't remember you. They remember the delicious, narcissistic supply that you once generously offered to their ego. The hunger starts to claw, and so a cruel loop is triggered again. Some will rush to find a new host, to repeat exactly as the beginning. A new victim, an old script, a foretold ending. But there are those carrying stronger psychological toxins and more cruelty who will not find someone new. They choose to return to the scene of the crime. They perform the ritual, zombieing, rising from the grave. And then, at a time you least expect, the phone screen lights up. A name that you have spent 100 sleepless nights burying in the past now suddenly rises from the grave. The message is short, light as if no cruel separation ever happened. How have you been lately? Suddenly saw this and missed you. Or simply a reaction to your story. Right at that moment, be honest with me, does your heart skip a beat? Blood rushes to the brain. A mix of crazy emotions surges, both furious at their brazenness, but painfully, also kindling a stupid and pitiful ray of hope. Have they regretted it? Perhaps after all, they realized how important I am? Please wake up. Don't let emotional hunger fool your intuition. They come back not because of reborn love. They come back to perform a simple test. Check if your door is still open. They want to confirm that their power over you is still there. They want to know if you are still a safe backup option, still obediently lying, gathering dust on their shelf, waiting to be picked up or not. If you answer even just one line, or even a curse word, you have lost. Your act of answering is the premium fuel, pumping full the gas tank for their starving, narcissistic ego. And the rule has never changed. As soon as the tank is full, they will hit the gas and speed away, vanishing as quickly as they came. The circle closes. The hunter sets out again, seeking thrills. And if you are not brave enough to stop it right now, you will forever remain just prey imprisoned in their forest of memories. We have gone together to the very end of the maze, peeled back every layer of the mind of those ghosts or those hunters we just mentioned. And finally, when the light of truth is turned on, what do we find in there? There is no grand mystery or deep philosophical layer. What remains bare before our eyes is just a frightened child hiding in an adult's body, a defective soul incapable of deep connection, and an ego too big, but self-esteem too low to bow down and say a decent apology. So, this final word is sent to you who are standing helpless in the void of abandonment. Don't try to become a detective. to decode their silence anymore. Don't go looking for a soulless corpse to ask the cause of death. You cannot find meaning in a meaningless act. The act of ghosting is absolutely not a verdict on your value. It is a mirror reflecting exactly their crippled emotional capacity. Change your perspective. Their disappearance is not a loss. It is a natural filtration of the universe for you. Silently thank that cowardice, because they have automatically cleared space in your life to yield that precious space to someone mature enough, brave enough to say hello when arriving and goodbye when leaving. And most importantly, don't wait for an apology from them to close the past. Closure. Don't hand over your healing power to the one who hurt you. The closure lies right in the moment you decide to stop waiting. Don't build your house on the empty spaces they left behind. Fill it with your own self.